a good day. Thank you for joining me once again here on Planet Hog.
Diamonds are forever.
And today we're doing things a little bit differently.
All I need to please me.
You know, I saw this this article. I think it was Thursday.
I've no fear that they might desert me.
And I had to chew on it for a while.
Diamonds are forever.
Because, you know, there's a lot of perspectives that can be had about this.
Stroke it and undress it.
And I try to distill my opinion to the best of my ability before I present it to you.
I don't need love.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, today we are talking about an unfortunate young man. A young man that thought, well, he had the one. And in his blind ambition, fueled by his passion, he made one grand gesture.
Unlike men, the diamonds linger.
And it blew up in his face.
Mortals who are not worth going to your grave for.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the New York Post website. You know it's bad when, and I'm not laughing at this man. I really am not. I want to address this without, mocking this person, because I'm sure he's gotten his fair share and some. But before we do, I feel just to be honest and to be fair, we should inject, possibly the most appropriate thing that can be heard after reading a headline like this. And with that done, we'll go ahead and get into this now. So the headline reads, "Man's proposal at baseball game goes horribly wrong in cringe-worthy scene." And I resent the fact that they have a woman writing this article, but we'll expect some jabs in here. First sentence. He struck out. Oh, little on the nose. Get it? It's baseball. An embarrassing video appears to show the moment a man's marriage proposal at a minor league baseball game in Massachusetts goes horribly wrong, as his girlfriend publicly rejects him and runs away. In the footage, the unnamed guy pops the question in front of a crowd of fans in a dugout at a Worcester, I believe that's how you fucking massholes pronounce Worcester. Everyone else would say, Worcester or something like that, but I think they call it Worcester. Worcester. At a Worcester Red Sox home game on Thursday, according to now viral footage posted by the Instagram account What's the Word Massachusetts. And a quick correction here. She said it happened in a dugout. It did not happen in a dugout. It happened on a dugout. Big difference. See, if he was inside the dugout and he proposed to her and she said no, far less people know. However, standing on top of the dugout for the entire ballpark to behold, and the pictures are, well, I gave you a couple of them there, but even the players and the manager, everybody saw this. Anyway, let's move on. The would-be romantic gesture prompted cheers at Polar Park. Well, no, it was a romantic gesture. See, whether or not she accepted it, it was a romantic gesture, but here we go. But instead of swooning, his stunned girlfriend put her hands over her mouth and shook her head no. "I have to go," she can be heard saying before bolting up the stairs and leaving him alone on one knee. The woman was horrified after the proposal. She ran upstairs. The gentleman ran after her with his two buddies. Stephen Wooster, a fan in attendance, told the radio station 98.5, the Sports Hub, "I saw the whole thing. It was horrifying." Okay, Mr. Wooster, but, and this is what men have to stop doing. That was a very female-friendly answer. The woman was horrified. Yeah, that's what you lead with. So what was horrifying? Was the fact that this man proposed to her publicly at a baseball game, was that horrifying? Meaning, if she said yes, would you still have been horrified? No, you wouldn't have. You would have been sitting there clapping, Mr. Wooster, rubbing your nipples, whatever you do. But the thing that was horrifying was that she said no. So maybe let's take your capes off for this one. It's okay to take the guy's side on this one. I know this is a crazy concept. The cringe-inducing proposal, which also played on the stadium's massive screen, sparked speculation from witnesses that the moment was so awful it had to have been staged. Because that's how jaded we are, folks. When we see real life happen in front of us, we don't even believe it. But a source with knowledge of the incident told the Post the proposal was planned and that family members of the couple were in the crowd. One sign, it was a real-life romantic fumble. Oh, she mixed up her sports references. See, she should have said error. That would have been good. All right. Quote, "It was definitely not a stunt in any way by the club, and every indication from those involved was that it was sincere," said Bill Wanless, or maybe Waneless, Vice President of Communications for the Worcester Red Sox. But we haven't heard anything from the parties involved. Ashley Green, a photographer who filmed footage of the guy getting rejected, told Insider without elaborating that she believed it may have been a stunt. Other observers took to Twitter to warn that public marriage proposals may not always be a home run. Jesus Christ. I tell you, and this is reminding me, women just aren't funny. I'll just say it. They're not funny. You're funny when something happens to you, like you trip and fall while you're trying to look like that's funny. Or when you try to blow up a dude's car and you end up blowing yourself up. That's funny. But in terms of cracking jokes, wit, name your favorite female comedian's routine. I'll wait. Anyhow, quote, this one of the best rejections of all time. Oh, this was clearly a black person. This one of the best rejections of all time, LOL, one user cracked. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A young man crashed and burned. Well, first let me start with him. Gentlemen, and if this man were to hear my words, I would say this. He has been presented with a unique opportunity. Yes, this is embarrassing. The embarrassment of this is I can only fathom. I can only try to fathom what it is. I've never experienced anything this embarrassing in my life. I think most people haven't. In fact, this is probably why. I'm sure this ties into people's fear of public speaking because of stuff like this. Not necessarily being rejected at a marriage proposal per se, but having something adverse happen to you publicly. Absolutely. But through all of this man has been presented a unique opportunity because provided he's not swinging from a ceiling right now, provided he hasn't shot himself in the head, if this young man gets through this, he will be the most unstoppable motherfucker on this earth. A man that can do this, where you go to propose publicly, and not just publicly, right? Because most people propose publicly. You say that, you think, oh, a restaurant, maybe, the boardwalk on a pier, at a party in front of friends. That's publicly. This is This is like an astronomical scale of public. Now, granted, it was a minor league baseball game, but still, those things pack maybe, I'd say, around 10,000 people. And it stands to reason if you're going to a minor league baseball game, you're probably a local guy. You probably live locally. So there's a good chance that some of these people will see you. Oh, boy. Especially when your story gets picked up by the New York Post. But if this young man can make it through this, what else could you do to embarrass this man? He should have no fear of public humiliation moving forward, which, that prevents a lot of people from doing a lot of things. It prevents people from trying. The fear of being rejected publicly. The fear of making a fool out of yourself publicly. He's already ripped that Band-Aid off. So, young man, I would say take however much time you need to get over this, however many girls that is. Pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. Make a shit ton of money. Become the wealthiest man on this planet. Find out where this woman works. Buy that company. Fire her. And then say nanny boo boo. But moving on, I have a question for you, because I can't help but feel as though, did you guys sense it when I was reading it? It just felt like they were describing a murder scene. It was very sanitized, with very subtle implications that the woman was the victim. And that boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that even in this, we find a way to flip it on the guy as if he subjected this woman to this horror of asking her to be with him for the rest of his life. What kind of piece of shit woman would say no? And I've really thought about this. Because I was like, well, let's not I'm not here to dogpile on the women. Like, this isn't some manosphere shit. I'm not with all that. I think CRP and Tommy and others who have pegged them as bitter men who have been, spurned. I think that's spot on. It just you can hear it. You can hear it in what they say. How they attack, how there's no real message other than I'm going to spite you back. And now I can do it because there's a bunch of us. So this isn't that. But what kind of a piece of shit woman would say no to a public marriage proposal? The answer should always be yes. Irrespective if you marry this man. See, what she should have done was say yes, give him a hug, let him put the ring on her finger, let everybody in attendance have their moment. They probably had a little screen ready. She said yes, and some stupid fucking 2000s pop music ready to pop off, and some horns, maybe some fireworks. Then at the end of the game, when they're leaving, she should take the ring off and say, I'm sorry, I don't want to marry you. I just didn't want to embarrass you, myself, our entire family, and make a baseball game awkward for 10,000 people simultaneously, as only a woman can do. And that goes for every public marriage proposal there is. There should never be a time where the woman says no. I don't give a shit if it's at a sock hop, a Renaissance fair, a mall. I don't give a shit where it is. The answer publicly should always be yes. Why should the answer always be yes? Because it's not legally binding. because it's just a gesture. It's a grand gesture. And presumably you love this man, right? Because you've gotten to the point where we're talking about marriage. And even if you don't love him, maybe it's one of those rare cases where you've said there's no way I'll ever marry you, even though I don't understand why you'd be dating them. Fine. But if you care about this person, the answer should always be yes in the public space, because again, it's about them demonstrating to the world what they think of you. And your answer is not legally binding. And then, when you get into a private setting, when you leave, when you get in the car, when you go home, then we can have the real conversation when everybody's not watching. That's just a little bit of courtesy. But you can't, I guess you can't expect that from a creature that we've conditioned to be so selfish at all times. I don't understand how this is a foreign concept. First of all, the idea of proposing. Well, look, I don't have anything bad to say about that. I kind of like the rustic nature of that gesture. Man dropping to one knee. Although nowadays it's women proposing to men. Now let's flip this situation around. Let's say that this man was proposed to by his girlfriend. And she dropped to one knee. As cringeworthy as that is for me to try to think about. But if she drops to one knee, offers him a ring, and he says, no, I can't do it, they would have been booing this man. They would have been throwing popcorn, drinks. If it was in Philly in the wintertime, snowball-covered batteries. This woman that wrote this article would be calling him all kinds of insecure soy boy. He's threatened. But when it happens to him, like you saw the last comment. This one of the best rejections of all time, LOL. And look, guys relate different ways. We rib each other. We jab each other. I took a small jab early. But we have to move past that at a certain point and pick up people like this. Because, again, the fact that this woman said no. I mean, what kind... Hey, listen, bro, if you're listening to this, if this reaches you, consider yourself lucky. Okay? Because this is a piece of shit woman. I don't have to know her to know that. First of all, she's got dual thigh tattoos. Do better. You're dealing with a crazy bitch. And the fact that this person would go to this game with you, presumably you all were in love. The fact that she would go to the game and embarrass you this much in front of the entire... I sincerely hope they're not dating. I hope you're not dating this woman anymore. Consider yourself lucky. You know, you'd like to find out a slightly, less humiliating way. Maybe you come home early. She's got one of your friends at the house. Something like that. And it says they went after him. I sincerely hope this man didn't go back to his seat and sit down. I mean, how do you even go back to the game after this? It's like, well, okay. 7th inning. Go team. Even the baseball players. There's a still shot. There's 3 photos. Right? So you see at the bottom photo. This, of course, will be down in the description. Of course, for you to peruse at your leisure. But as you look at this, there are 3 photos. Now, if you notice in the top photo, look at the first baseman. He's out there playing catch, not really paying attention. The second baseman looks like he might see what's going on. Obviously, the grounds crew does see what's going on. But watch the first baseman after the rejection. He turns around. Like, everybody saw this. The manager's looking at him. I feel like after that, the game's over. I I feel like, I mean, what did he do? He went back, he sat down in his seat. Some little kid comes up. Here, mister, and gives him like a baseball that his dad caught from earlier because his mom prompted him to do it, so the man wouldn't feel so bad. Give him a little hat. Would they sign a bat and give it to him? Well, don't give him a bat. I don't give him a bat. Maybe a glove, maybe a jersey. Beer man come up and try to commiserate with him and give him a free beer. Yo, bro, I got rejected too the other day, bro. This bitch. Maybe the cotton candy man just kind of came by and gave him a little cotton candy. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, the article says they left. I sincerely hope they left. There's nothing left for you at that game after that. People sitting next to him trying not to make eye contact with him, but treating you like a homeless person. You know, you ever pull up to a stoplight, got a homeless person sitting there at the intersection, you're just like, oh, fuck. Just don't make eye contact. Just gonna look, gonna adjust my mirror. Oh, boy, this light's been red for a while. Oh, just gonna look outside, gonna look around. Fuck, he saw me. I feel like it was something like that. And then you're obligated to kind of nod. You know, in the case of the homeless person, you either give money or you don't. In this case, they just kind of nod at you and hope you don't try to unburden yourself on them because they really don't give a shit. And you know they don't give a shit. You're just trying to ease some of the awkward tension that is you're drowning in at this point. Ugh. Or maybe you're okay with the awkwardness. You've made peace and you're hoping they don't try to give you a it'll be okay kind of pep speech right there because you know they don't give a shit and they're just trying to fill the silence. Oh, God. Oh, God. What a mess. And all the bitch had to do was say yes. And literally none of this happens. Although most of this, we don't know if it happened. This was all my speculation. But that's not the point. Oh, man. And I'll tell you what. To attempt to maintain some semblance of objectivity, even though I understand that it's a little late in the game for this, but nevertheless, I'll give the woman involved this out. Baseball. But I'll give her this out. The only way, because you see the pictures there, she threw her hands up like, you know, just like she was appalled by this entire thing. There's no way she could have seen this coming. Okay. If these people had been dating for like 2 weeks, 2 days, some trivial amount of time, I'll go, because some people get married pretty quickly these days, so I'll go 8 months or fewer. Then fine. This response was totally proportionate, totally understandable. Anyway, folks, you know, look, maybe there's a grander message here, because I've always wondered this. Is this the best way to go about selecting a partner? And this being this insipid concept called love. Because if we look in our not so distant past, marriages served a purpose. Marriages were about consolidating power, augmenting your reach, either socially, politically, militarily. Marriages served a purpose. Marriages were sometimes used as a truce. And it's not until we kind of got away from really the day-to-day, I guess you could say, survivalist perspective that we had back in the early ages of man, probably all the way up until maybe Industrial Revolution, I'd say. I think that's fair. Everything before that, it served a purpose greater than love. And let's talk about this purpose called love. I'm sure these two were in love. I'm sure she said she loved him. And you see how she left him. When you see these murders or these assaults, they're always of people that were quote unquote in love. Or not always, but usually. The point being, we do a lot of dastardly things to people that we portend to love, whatever that means. So to me, there just has to be something beyond it. Because as strong as people say love is, and the only reason why love has such currency nowadays is because of convention, societal convention, because people keep saying it does. But could you explain a concept of love to, say, our caveman ancestors? Could you explain it even as so far as maybe the Dark Ages and feudal era relationships? Now, sure, I'm sure that concept came to be at some point in that time. But again, you could be a prince, really works better with a princess, and love a stable boy, but you're not marrying him. You're marrying the Duke of or whoever, because we need to forge an alliance. And I guess I would just encourage men out there to look, man, look beyond this concept. I'm not saying you have to ignore it. I'm not saying, real men have no feelings. I'm not saying any stupid shit like that. But I am saying make it work for you. Because if it doesn't work out, the government will make sure it works out for her. Anyway, folks, that's what I got for you guys today. A little bit of a reprieve from the political madness that's been going on recently. But I will be back with you guys shortly. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for tuning in. And I will see you next time. Peace.